All right, I'm gonna do our video quick. Hey there, everybody. Hopefully everyone can see us and hear us okay. I'm going to try and watch for comments. This is new to me, so let me switch over here. So if you're jumping on, everybody, quick say hi. Let us know you're here. Looks like 4 people are watching at the moment. So welcome to Her Laundry Unfolded. This is brand new. So hey, Lexus. So we're just going to kind of wing it. I don't want these to be over scripted or hi, Allison. Hi, Jenna. And be sure you can share this if you can, guys. This way more people can see the video and hear Liza's story. And awesome. Just kind of watching comments as they're coming in here. There's 3 of them. So this is our launching episode, or relaunch, I should say, because this was just a regular podcast, but I didn't like all the back end of all the technology part of running a podcast. So I kind of reimagined it. Now we're doing the video so you can see the person I'm talking to. Hi, Katina. So today I have Liza Lomax. She's a body image coach, and I'm really excited about her story. We actually met at the I Am conference. Was that January?
No, that was October, actually.
October. Oh my gosh. Hi, Tracy.
I feel like I've known you for like forever.
I know. And it was the first time we ever met was there, and, just kind of connected on Facebook. And we did a Zoom connect, didn't we?
Yes.
That's what I thought. I was thinking, I had a lot of connects over the past, probably 6 months. I'm pretty sure I did remember having a connect with her.
Yep.
So, yeah. Okay. So I'm just going to kind of let you run with it. So just introduce yourself and, just go ahead and jump right in.
All right. I am Liza Lomax. I'm a body image coach. So I'm a life coach that specializes in body image coaching for women. And what is that? Well, body image is everything nowadays. People, it's an epidemic. There's lots of women in our world that, are nitpick at every single little thing that they do, and how they look, how they dress, what they look like. And I'll just go ahead and share my own personal story. And then I'll kind of lead up into what I'm doing now and what I'm helping women do. So when I was a teenager, I actually suffered from 2 EDs. I was anorexic, and I also suffered from binge eating, overeating. When I was a teenager, I grew up in a household that was not the most loving household. I can't judge them on that because that's the only way that that's how they were raised. And so in the house, it was a very restrictive on certain things. It was a very religious household. And I was told that it was like I had to be perfect. I had to look a certain way and dress a certain way and act a certain way. And when I wasn't those ways, I tried to find ways to fix them and to be better. So that started that not good enough story in my head. I was by the time, through my teenage years, I starved myself a lot. And then I would binge eat, and then I would starve, and then I would binge eat, and then I would starve. By the time I was 26, I had gotten up to 300 pounds, and the doctor told me that I was going to die if I didn't lose weight.
Wow.
So I asked him, I'm like, what do I do? He didn't give me very much direction. He just said, you need to diet. He didn't think I was heavy enough to have any kind of surgery or anything like that. He's like, you can do it. There wasn't any direction at all.
Wow.
Right. And at the time I had a 2-year-old, and I was like, well, I want to live to see him grow older. So I'm going to lose the weight, and I'm going to lose it for him. And so it took me 13 months. I lost 105 pounds.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
The whole person. I love seeing people's reaction to that. They're like, what? I'm like, yes.
Well, and only meeting you now, I can't even picture you with that weight on you.
Right. And
so that's just like,
I might have some
Wow.
pictures here too, since this is
Oh,
like
good.
unscripted and unedited
Yeah,
and
I love it.
unscripted. Let's see. I might have my pictures here with me.
Awesome.
So yeah, so I lost 105 pounds in 13 months. However, I didn't change my mindset. And so I actually continued to yo-yo, and I went backwards to the same old eating habits, the same old pattern. Actually, I can't, oh yes, they're there. The same old pattern. So let's see if you guys can see this. This was, I don't know if you guys can kind of see that without the glare, but that was me. Okay.
Wow.
And then after losing all the weight, you can tell I'm much skinnier.
Yes. Wow.
But yeah, so I didn't change my eating habits. I didn't change nothing. I went back to the same eating habits. I yo-yo dieted for years and years and years. I was addicted to diet pills. I've tried every diet fad, every diet pill, everything imaginable. You see those advertisements in magazines for like hydroxycut and all those crazy ones. I've taken them. I've done them all.
Mm-hmm.
And I still overate, and I got into the habit of taking laxatives. So I would binge eat, and then I would take laxatives to get it out. And so I
you're still dealing with
still did that.
The eating disorder was still there, right?
Still there. The thing with eating disorders, the thing with any kind of, drugs, alcohol, eating disorders, you're always in recovery, and you're always going to be in that state of recovery. Anyway, so I had, I had yo-yo dieted for a long, long time. I literally had to hit rock bottom before anything started changing. I was addicted to diet pills. I was a heavy drinker. I did things to my body nobody should ever do to their bodies. I was sexually assaulted at one time. I had an abortion at one time. All these things. I was depressed. I had anxiety. I was just so sad, and I was so mad and angry. I was that doormat. I was that people pleaser. I was doing all these things for everybody else, but myself.
Right.
And
so, real quick, when you talked about hitting rock bottom, did you know you hit rock bottom, or was that kind of once you started climbing out of it, like, oh shit, that was my rock bottom?
A little bit of both. It was like, because some people ask me like, what happened? What happened in your head? What happened around you? I had this big epiphany. It was like this, whatever you believe in, God, higher source, higher power, the universe, something was telling me something had to give. Somebody was telling me that I needed to change for myself, and I needed to do something for myself instead of all these people around me. Instead of trying to change for everybody else, I had to change for myself. Okay. And I knew that where I wasn't happy, and I'm like, okay, well, if I'm going to be happy, then should I be doing things for myself and not for other people? Those was the questions.
That's a hard one to get to.
Yeah,
that's hard.
It is.
You see that. That's hard.
It was hard. I was like, well, okay, how do I do that? And so I went out and studied every self-help book, every guru out there, everybody, every book, everything imaginable, to try to help myself and to, change my mindset and, change how I look about myself and how I talk about myself and how I feel about myself. And, it took a long time to get to that point. It took a long time to be able to look in the mirror, because I had body dysmorphia disorder for a long time. I would look at myself in the mirror and I would see this monster of a person. I never saw myself like how you are seeing me now. I never saw that person. And, when I finally got to that point where I was like, I looked in the mirror and I was like, oh my gosh, who is that? I literally was standing next to somebody and I said, who is that person? And they're like, that's you. And I was like, no, that's not me. That's me. I was like, wow, I'm hot.
Right? Holy crap.
I was like, holy crap, I'm hot. I'm like, wow, I look amazing. And it was just like, it was like this most amazing feeling ever to be able to look at yourself and see what everybody else sees.
Like an awakening.
It was like, yes, it was totally like an awakening. And I knew, I knew there were other women out there that struggled, that suffered from, similar stories, similar backgrounds, all everything in my story. I knew there had to be other people that struggled too. And I'm like, this has got to be my mission. This has got to be why I'm put on this earth, is to help other women love themselves and to bring that love however I can to this world.
Right.
And so that's where it's got me now, is, helping women, love themselves, to change that mindset of, I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy enough. I'm not special enough. I'm not pretty enough. It's like, we're told as children that we need to look a certain way and dress a certain way and act a certain way. And when we're not those ways, we try to fix them. And that's when that not good enough story happens.
Right.
And it comes into our adulthood where we're just completely messed up in our heads, and we're thinking, well, I can't write a book because I'm not good enough, or, oh, she's prettier than me. I can't be a speaker. I can't be up on stage and speak. I have this terrible fear. I can't do this. I can't do this. So we're always like, well, I can't wear that black dress because, I'm not going to be able to fit into it, because I need to lose like 20 pounds in order to fit into that, or in order to look good in that. So we're constantly putting ourselves down over and over and over again. And it's exhausting. It's exhausting. Like, and we can diet and we can exercise, we can have the best nutrition, we can do all these things, but until you change up here, nothing is going to change. Nothing is going to change.
Right.
You need to change your mindset first.
And did part of you, like when you were changing, did you feel like everyone had this expectation of who you were, and it was hard to move away from that? Even in your heavier self, what you were wearing, that had to be hard to get away from. Like, everyone expects me to wear, say, long flowing things that kind of hide my body. So now when I dress now, is it like, how did you work through that?
It was, there was like, I contributed to, which had its downfalls and had its good things. I did 15 years of theater acting.
Oh, wow.
And yes. And it was really good to get me out of my shell. But actually what it did was it caused me to know how to put on a mask for everybody, for the world around me. And I could just put on that mask, be that role, be that persona that everybody else wanted to see, everybody else wanted to be around and hang around and love. And it was like, there's nothing wrong with me. I'm perfect. And then it was like, no, I'm not. I am messed up.
It's a different kind of awakening.
Right. So, I went through, I wear bigger clothes, to hide myself, flowier things, like you said. And I'm not a femi girl, I guess, to wear the dresses and all that stuff. I've never really been that way, but I put on that persona of being that person, because, hiding everything about myself, and from the world.
Because it's even a change in the mindset, like you said, when you re-saw yourself in the mirror, like who am I? It's you're reinventing yourself, and everyone around you, sometimes they're slow to get to the table with you. Even though you're in that process of change, the people around us aren't always in that same, like, you're changing too fast, you're losing too much weight, you're getting too healthy, you're running you're exercising too much.
Yep. Yeah. I had friends and family that were, when I started, one of the things in my coaching program is I teach people how to get rid of the toxicity in their life. So the people, places, and things. So the places we go to, the things that we put in our bodies, whether it's listening, whether it's our eyes, whether, wherever it is, what we're putting in our bodies, the people is a huge thing. I mean, the people that we surround ourselves with make a huge impact on how we feel about ourselves and what we put in our space. So I had family members that I had to release because they didn't believe in me. They didn't support me. They didn't love me in the way that you were supposed to. And, because I changed, there was so many things I changed. And like, there was, for an example, I used to read those Star magazines, those In Style magazines, those things with all the actors and the actresses. And it's like, oh, because their lives are so much better than mine. I'll read these. When really in actuality, their lives probably suck beyond belief. But we think that they're wonderful, wonderful. And so I would read those magazines and it would make me feel like crap afterwards. It would just, I hated those. I'm like, why am I reading these things? So when I started going through my changes and taking care of myself, I started getting rid of those magazines. And there was a weekend where my brother-in-law, my sister came over and he had asked, where are those magazines? And I said, I got rid of them. And he's like, what the hell for? And I'm like, because they're toxic. He's like, no, they're not. They're funny and they're great. And I love reading them. And I said, no, they're not. They're garbage. And I got rid of them. Bye-bye.
Yeah. You're playing the comparison game too, I'm sure.
Right. Yes. Yeah. So, just those toxic things that we have in our environment, it's to make it very pivotal to how we view ourselves and how we are, and how we feel about ourselves. So, and it's okay to get rid of, not get rid of per se, but it's okay to release even family members out of your life if they're not supportive and they're not loving and they're not caring and they're not there for you.
Because I can just picture you trying to go through this transition and going to, say, a birthday party and everyone shoving cupcakes in your face. Like, just have one. It's fine. You can just have one. You can't completely deprive yourself. When you didn't realize that for me, if I'm doing, eating a specific way, that one thing will send me right off path. And then it's going to take me another month to get back on track, that one thing. And people don't see that. You have to celebrate it. Have a cupcake, have a cheesecake, have all this crap that makes you unhealthy.
Right. And, and the two things, like I said in the beginning, I'm like, when you have an eating disorder, you're always going to be in recovery. When you have a drug addiction, you're always going to be in recovery. When you have an alcohol addiction, you're always going to be in recovery. There were moments, and they still, from time to time, there are moments where I'm like, I'll get a plate full of food in front of me and I'll be like, oh, food, and I'm like, just want to just eat it. Yes. But I'm like, I have to be very mindful and very conscious of what I'm doing. And I have to take a few bites and put my fork down. I have to consciously put my fork down, sit back. Okay. Do I want some more? Yes, no. I have to really pay attention. So that's another thing I teach my clients is mindful eating and paying attention to your body, being very intuitive of how your body is responding, to the food and what you're doing.
Right.
So, because I still from time to time, there's I'm just I want to just shovel it in because it's so delicious.
For me, I don't know if you do this, but I have to mentally keep myself in check before I eat. If I'm doing low carb, and I'm really ravenously hungry for some reason. Hang on. My daughter keeps trying to call. I have to remember, how am I going to feel after I eat this?
Right.
Because I know what I do. If I eat a bunch of crap I'm not supposed to, my stomach's going to hurt. Yep. I'm going to have regret. I'm going to think, oh, why did I do that? Then I'm going to get sad about it, basically.
Yep.
I have to set myself emotionally up. Okay, how am I going to feel after? Am I going to feel good after I eat this, or am I going to feel like crap after I eat this?
Yes. And I honestly believe that everybody suffers from some kind of emotional eating pattern, especially women. It's okay, well, we want to feel good. Okay, let's eat a cupcake. And then we're like, okay, let's eat another one.
Right.
And let's eat another one. And then let's have a bag of M&Ms, or let's have a slushie. Or, it's this continuing cycle. And then we're like, okay, oh gosh, I feel horrible. Now I feel guilty. I was stressed, so I'm eating. I feel guilty. And, now it's it's this never ending cycle, If we want to feel comfort, then we want to feel comfort, then we feel guilty, and then it's stress again. We're stressed out again. And then we're, it's this never ending cycle.
Right. I think I'm frozen on my computer here.
Oh, I can see you.
I'm still connected. There we go.
I can see you.
Okay, good.
So yeah, so I mean,
So,
when it comes to eating, I mean, we suffer from, a lot of people suffer, especially right now with our quarantine, being indoors and not having the things that we're used to doing. A lot of people are turning to food and sitting in front of the TV and just plowing it in, just shoveling it in. And they're wondering why their clothes are not
right.
fitting.
Yeah, and it's that whole like emotional aspect of the lockdown. And for me personally, like I lost my mom in February, so right after that was the lockdown. So I was already experiencing like a depression and like kind of eating my feelings. And then the lockdown, I just said kind of the hell with it. And then for a long time, I'm like, I could see it in my face, I could feel it. I was tired. Like, okay, I need to get on a scale. 15 pounds. 15 pounds I put on. So I'm working my way back now and doing that mindful check. Okay, how am I going to feel after I eat this?
Right.
So how do you advise people like who are going through like an emotional, I don't want to say trauma, but sometimes it's a trauma, a loss or something big in their lives where they want to eat their feelings. Like, do you help, the people you work with through that and how to make good choices, like when they're really struggling?
Oh, for sure. I mean, so we as human beings, we base everything on emotions. Every single choice, everything, every single day, a second of every day, we base everything on emotions. And when, people like go to therapy or go to counseling or something else that's, they need that extra help. A lot of them don't, they go to the mental and the physical. They don't talk about the mental and the physical. They talk about the mental and the physical aspects. They don't talk about the emotional and the spiritual a lot. And so what sets me apart from other coaches is that I'm emotionally driven by every single thing that I do. And so when I coach you, we go dig deep down and we work out your emotional side, your spiritual side, all of them. I mean, the mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual.
Right.
But the emotional side is what really, because we're driven by emotions. That's the key point there is you need to work on those emotions. So finding, healthy emotional outlets. So instead of turning to food, going for a walk, or instead of sitting in front of the TV, or even, wanting to take a drink, or whatever your vice is, it's like finding something else outside of that where you can get away, you can get out of the environment you're in, whether it's, like, one of the things that I found very beneficial is when I had a car, I would sit in my car and I would scream at the top of my lungs. I would just sit in my car and I would scream. I would just scream. And awesome. You know how good that feels to just scream? I mean, that's one thing. It's just taking that time, just release it. And, so, I teach them how to take, having those healthy emotional outlets to go to instead of your regular go-to, which is food or diet or exercise or whatnot, whatever your vice is. So having alternative ways that are healthy for you, that are going to help you get through it. That's what I teach.
That's awesome. And I see Susie just commented on here. She said, as a coach, it's amazing you have a story and history to understand how other feels and process life, which is so true. I think people need to connect on a personal level with a coach, knowing that you've struggled with this, a lot of what they're going through.
Right.
So can you talk a bit about like when you started coaching and like your, first clients, and how did that what's the word I'm looking for? Change you? How did that change you in coaching other people? Did that have an impact for you?
Every single person I coach has an impact on my life. It really does. Awesome. It has such a wonderful impact on my life. I mean, yeah, like like she said, you have to, if you're going to walk the walk, you got to talk the talk. And I have walked the walk, and that's what sets me apart from a lot of coaches, is that I have that experience and that knowledge and know-how, that I know exactly what you're going through. I know how you're feeling. I know, maybe not the exact same story, but I know emotionally, I know the emotions behind that, and I can empathize with those. And so literally, I walk the walk, I talk the talk. So, but yes, with my clients, everyone just brings just like so much joy and so much light and so many, and they might be just very minuscule little things that help my own life,
Mhm.
and I mean, as coaches, we need coaching too. So, I mean, that's like, when I'm coaching, there's little things that come up too that I'm like, wow, I never thought about that. Let's work on that. Let's take care of that. So, because we're onions, we have so many layers. There's always a layer upon layer upon layer. So getting through all those layers is how we change, how we evolve, how we get to the next level, in our evolution for ourselves.
Right. And as you've evolved, like between, coming to a place where you are good with your body image, helping others and finding that success, how has that spilled over to the other parts of your life now?
I'm sorry, you kind of broke up a little bit there.
Oh, sorry. So how has the success that you have found between your own weight loss and healthy body image and helping others, how has that success spilled over into other aspects of your life?
Oh gosh. I'm probably the healthiest, fittest I have been in my entire life. I don't have, all those feelings, those, I'm not bombarded with all of those feelings that I had before in the past. It's like I can, every time I look at myself in the mirror and I see that reflection, I'm just like, wow, I'm so proud of myself and I'm so happy of where I got. I mean, I'm always like, pat myself on the back, because I accomplished so much. And, again, whether it was God, divine source, higher power, whatever you believe in, it was, it was that call that I got. I received that message that said, you are much better. You are much better than where you're at. You have purpose, you have meaning, and let's get on that road to finding who you are, that really who you are. And gosh, it's transformed my life immensely. Like it's like, how do you explain it? It's just like, I'm overjoyed with joy a lot. So I'm very happy. I'm very blessed. And I just every day I'm like, I just walk in gratitude and I just thank, like, I'm just so happy and grateful for where I'm at, where I'm standing, the environment I'm in. I feel very blessed.
Well, and it's great that you're celebrating yourself, because I think women, especially, we tend to not celebrate ourselves and our accomplishments. We're easy to say, great job, Liza, that's awesome. Like, we want to praise everybody else, but giving yourself that pat on the back, to me, that's huge, because a lot of women don't see the importance of doing that and celebrating themselves.
Right. Yeah. I mean, to go from self-loathing to self-loving, it's not selfish, it's self-preservation. And we need to honor ourselves. We need to love ourselves. I tell everybody, I preach this constantly. We cannot love another person fully, truly, madly, deeply until we love ourselves. We need to love ourselves first. We need to take care of ourselves first. We need to do everything we can for ourselves. It's not selfish. It's self-preservation. Once we do that, then everything else in our world is honestly transformed. It really is. It helps everybody else in our environment, in our world, once we take care of ourselves. So being our own best friend, loving ourselves, from the words we say to ourselves. I mean, you wouldn't, the words that sometimes we say to ourselves in our heads, you wouldn't say that to your best friend, would you? No.
Right. That's so true.
So being your own best friend and loving yourself and I'm still, I look at myself in the mirror and I say I wake up in the morning, I say my daily affirmations. I do my mirror work still. I still look at myself in the mirror and I say my daily affirmations. I have my mantras I say every day. I do my meditations, in the morning and the night. So, I mean, I still do the work. We still have to do the work to keep up, to keep going. It doesn't stop. It just never stops.
Yeah, and I don't want to put you on the spot, but I mean, if you don't mind sharing, can you share just a couple of the affirmations or mantras that you like to follow that might help somebody who's watching, like give them an idea of something they could say to themselves? I mean, obviously, these are what's true for you.
Right. Right. So, I am are the two most powerful words in the English language. They really are.
Yes.
Because anything you put on the other side of that has such
Mm-hmm.
a negative or positive effect.
Yes.
When you say, I am ugly, how does that make you feel? It makes you feel ugly. If you say, I
Mm-hmm.
am beautiful, how does that make you feel? It makes you sit up a
Yeah.
little bit more, have your shoulders back. You feel a little lighter and brighter when you say that. So
Yeah.
all of my affirmations start with I am. So it's always I am. And then I always say, I am, and I always put an emotion behind it. So I am excited. I am happy. I am grateful. And I always say that and then whatever sentence I want to put ahead of that. So one
Okay.
of my affirmations is I am perfectly healthy at all times. That has so many meanings.
Okay.
It can mean physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally. I am perfectly healthy at all times. And right now, that's a great affirmation to have with everything that's going on in our world right now. Um, I say I am a genius. Um, as a child, I was told I wasn't very smart, and I was kind of dumb. And so I took that on. I took that behavior on. And
Hmm.
it took me a long time to realize that I'm like, wait a minute, I'm actually fairly smart and I'm a genius,
Yeah.
actually. so
See?
I
Yep.
so I say that all the time. So I'm like, I am a genius. Um, you know, I'm always saying I am beautiful, that I'm always telling myself I love you in the mirror. I'm always looking at myself and saying, I love you. I love you, Liza. I always say my name. So those are just a few little things that I say. I mean, there's a whole bunch, but
Yeah.
just
Right.
telling yourself I love you every day is really important, is really going to help you.
Yeah.
We don't say that enough to ourselves and really mean it and really just look yourself in the mirror and just say, I love you. And really, really like take that in and see how it resonates with you. I mean, it might be kind of weird, might feel weird at first saying I love you to yourself in the mirror.
Right.
Um, but once you get through it and you keep doing it and doing it and doing it and doing it, you'll notice like a huge difference in your life. Just those 3 words.
Yeah. And
I love
I think that builds some confidence as well in being able to do that because, like I said, it is that awkward. Because I remember learning that and doing it for the first time and being like, "Oh, that felt really weird." Like, like it's like, why? Okay, now then I had a question: why am I uncomfortable? Like, why is this making me uncomfortable?
yeah.
And then as you work through that, like you said, it becomes easier, and it's like, oh, okay, then you're almost like warrior pose, like I call it. I am beautiful, or I love myself,
Right.
or I love
Right.
you. Kind of like, you know.
Yes. That,
Yes. And I think in what you're saying, and maybe you'll agree, but when you do that, I love you to yourself, and then when you build that confidence, I think loving yourself before you give yourself to somebody else too, it builds the confidence of creating better boundaries with other
yes.
people.
Yes. Yes, for sure. Yeah.
Okay. So Lexi has a question. I'm going to put it up here on the screen. She says, "How do I lose weight without putting it all back on? I love to eat and don't seem to exercise much." So
Well, well,
hard
you
one.
need right. Well, yes. So, you really have to be in a mindset of wanting to change. And um, when I read this sentence, what it says to me and what speaks to me intuitively is that you're not ready for change just yet. So you have to be ready for that change. So changing your mindset first, and then 80% of what we put in our bodies is what helps us with weight loss. So and then 20 is exercise. So don't worry about the exercise. Don't worry about that at all. Just trying to be very mindful of what you're putting in your body, how you're eating, what you're eating, when you're eating. And then, I tell everybody when you go to the grocery store, I know right now it's kind of a little up in the air, like how you can go to the grocery store, and some people are doing Instacart and that kind of thing. But when you're going to the grocery store, shop in the outside perimeter of the grocery store. Don't go in the middle, because what's in the middle? It's boxed, canned, bagged. It's full of preservatives, full of additives, chemicals, things that you can't even pronounce.
Mhm.
Don't ever shop in the middle. Shop on the outside, because
Yes.
what's on the outside? What's on the outside? All the good stuff. The
Yeah.
fruits and vegetables, the meats, people go back and forth with dairy. I personally don't eat a lot of dairy, just because it actually causes a lot of phlegm, and it actually causes a lot of indigestion and a lot of imbalance in your body, especially with gut health. But
Right.
but on the outside perimeter is all the good stuff, and so really just being very mindful every single second of every day what you're putting in your body. Just, do I really need that handful of M&Ms? No, I don't really. I mean, I maybe treat myself, but I'm not going to eat the whole bag. No. So just
Right.
being mindful is really what it is. I mean, once you get your food under control, then you can worry about the exercise. Don't worry so much about exercising right now. Just worry about, getting your food intake. And, that's something that I can completely help you with, Lexi. So take down my information and let's chat.
Yeah, I got her website up on the screen there. So if you want to get a hold of Liza and connect with her, that's a great way to do it. So can you walk through the process? So when you work with new clients, do you have a certain process? Is there a connect, or what does that look like for someone who's thinking about it, but they don't know what to expect?
So first initial, I have a free session. I always offer, first session is free. So what that phone call does is I kind of get a feel as to where you're at, what's going on, to find out where you are, where you want to be, where you're going. It's a very vulnerable session. So I always tell people, I'm like, I ask questions that are going to really make you think and really get hardcore down into the nitty gritty as to what the real underlying, struggles are for you. And then, if we both feel like it's a match, because I always, always, always want to make sure that they feel comfortable and I feel comfortable, because as we know, there's a ton of coaches out there. There's a ton of world of coaches, and not everybody can work with everybody. So, making sure that we really resonate with each other, and that, it's a good fit. And then once we discover it's a good fit, then I go into the process of how my program works.
Okay, that's awesome. I think that it's great that you want to make sure it fits on both ends, because sometimes, you feel like it's almost ingenuine where they just want all clients, everybody. I just want to coach everybody, but it's got to be that fit.
Yes, I mean, you can't coach everybody. There's enough people in this world for everybody. So it's like, and there might be, I might not resonate with them, and they might not resonate with me, and that's okay. That's all right. Mm-hmm. We had a great conversation. We talked about some things. We got some things out in the air, some things on the table that you probably would never have known otherwise. So it's really a great call. That first initial session is really a great thing, because there's some things that you might not even have ever looked at or ever thought, like those onions, those layers, peeling back those layers.
Right.
So yeah, and always making sure it's a fit. I mean, that's important, because I can't work with everybody. I want to, right? But I can't.
Right. But yeah, there's that almost like a personality thing sometimes too, where if you guys don't feel comfortable on like an emotional level together, working together, then you're setting both of you up for failure, basically.
Right. Right.
And you want them to, have success. So we're about 40 minutes in or so. So I'm trying to think if there's anything you want to add, or something from your story that, do you ever go back and look at like where you were and where you are now, and think, who the hell was that person?
Every day I think that. I'm like, oh my gosh, what was I thinking? Well, let me leave you with this story. So, and some people maybe out there that are just kind of like, kind of wondering, kind of teetering. One story is a client story. So I'm going to share a client story that's very pivotal, that's very transformational, that just gets my heart like every time I hear it. And so when I tell it, it gets me very emotional because it's just the sweetest story ever. So I had a client, and I'm already getting teary-eyed already thinking about it. I had a client who detests having her picture taken, who would try anything and everything to not look at herself, didn't want her picture taken. So she would be like, I'm the one that's going to take the picture. I can't be in the picture. I can't be in the picture. She literally hated herself, didn't love herself, hated the way she looked. And went through the program, and about halfway through the program, I get a message from her, and she says, with no explanation, she says, "What did you do to me?" And I thought about it. I'm like, what? What do you mean? What did I do to you? She's like, you hypnotized me. You did something to me. And I was like, no, I'm pretty sure you did all the work on your own, but enlighten me. What did I do? I'm like, what did I do? She said, I took a picture. I had a picture taken of me the other day, and I saw it, and I thought it was beautiful. And I was like, what? Wow. I was like, really? I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, that's so wonderful. I was like, oh my gosh. I mean, I was crying at this point. I was like, oh my gosh, that makes me so happy. She's like, I looked at myself, I saw this beautiful woman, and I didn't see the old me anymore. And now I want to have more pictures taken of me. And I was like, oh my gosh. I'm like, that completely warms my heart, because that was my story. I mean, it's like me looking in the mirror and seeing myself, even though this is a photograph and one's a mirror, it's still a reflection of you. And it was like, it was just like this. I was like flabbergasted. I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, I'm so happy for you. And now still to this day, she sends me pictures of her, and she says, look how beautiful I am. And it just makes me so happy when I tell that story and I hear that story, and I start to get emotional, because it's just such a beautiful story. I had the same story where I didn't see myself, and I didn't love myself. And when I first saw myself, I was like, who's that amazing, beautiful person in the mirror? That's me. And here this woman is like literally detested herself, and she sees herself in a picture and she says that she's beautiful. I'm like, wow. Oh my gosh.
Wow. What I really love about that is it's self-acceptance, and there was no number attached to that. It wasn't like, I hit my goal weight, I'm beautiful. No, it was, I looked at myself and I see myself as, to me, that's bigger than any number on the scale or on a tape measure. Yes. That's huge.
It is huge. And I tell, women come to me all the time and they say, I want to lose weight. I want to lose weight. And it's like, okay, well, we'll lose weight. But what's the real underlying issue here? It has nothing to do with the weight. Nothing to do with the weight. It has to do with how they accept themselves, how they love themselves.
Right. It's like the weight is a symptom.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Wow. I love this. Gosh, you are very inspirational. Like, I love it.
I inspire myself. It's like when I hear these stories, and I tell my story, I'm just like, I feel so blessed, and I'm so grateful for where I came from and where I'm at now. And these are happy tears, but I'm very, I love my life, and I love where I'm at, and I want to help other women love their lives and love where they're at just the way they are, and love themselves wholeheartedly. And it doesn't matter what the scale says. It doesn't matter what the tape measure says. It doesn't matter. It's like how you see it, it's how you feel and how you see yourself. That's important. So
yeah, and I love that. That's a great measurement. I love it. You're making me kind of tear up too. If I see it, I do it. I'm that person. If I see tears, I produce tears.
Yes, these are happy tears, though. These are, I'm just like, yes. It's so wonderful.
I love it, though, because like your measurement of success, I love that it has nothing to do with the number on the scale. Mm-hmm. I think that that's such a beautiful, incredible, inspiring thing that you're helping women with. I mean, Yeah, it's amazing. You gotta stop crying because I'm getting choked up just watching you.
Okay.
But
Ooh.
yeah, so if anyone that's watching has questions, feel free to pop in the questions. So this video will remain on the page. I'm also going to be uploading it to YouTube, and it'll be just labeled episode 1 with your name and your information, so people can go back and they can search you and they'll find it like on YouTube or on the Facebook page.
Okay.
So yeah, Danny has some good. So obesity is a manifestation of our sufferings.
Yeah.
Yes, you are more powerful than food. What you put into your body is either fighting disease or feeding it.
Exactly.
So that's true too. Yeah, and that's a level of health with it. But well, thank you so much for coming on here, Liza. I just think you're absolutely incredible, and I hope people reach out to you because I think you've already been on a path to creating change in women's lives in such a powerful way that I can't wait to see more of what you're doing. So Lexus did ask, do you have an exercise class?
No, currently, but I have a lot of exercises. So if you need motivation, you need some exercises to do. Yeah. Somebody
especially at home.
Somebody else asked me that if I do exercise classes, and I'm like, no, I actually haven't. But who knows? It might be something that's later on down the line.
Yeah, but I mean, you could even just lead something. I mean, via Zoom or like a private, group, or something where you could lead, like give, this is what I do.
Right. I do have a Facebook group out there. That's just a free group that I put a lot of content out there. A lot of the content I use on my own clients. So it's a lot of free content, a lot of material. It's called Love Your Body, Love Yourself.
I'm going to write it in the comments. Love your body, love yourself.
So I would, be honored if you wanted to join. I do throw exercises in there. I throw a lot of learning material. I have guest speakers every week. We have a group call on Fridays where we just talk about anything and everything. We have different topics. And it's completely free. Lots of fun. I just have a lot of motivational stuff every day. A lot of just, really content.
Awesome. Love it.
Oh, and Allison put it in the chat. Thank you, Allison. She put the link in the chat. She put the link in the chat.
Oh, thank you so much, Allison. That's awesome. I love it. And then everyone who's on here, if you can share the video too, because somebody in your group of friends or family might need to hear the message that Liza has. So it's really important to share the videos as well, because that helps create a little traction for Liza and what she does. And somebody's going to hear her message and say, I needed to hear this. And that's that's huge. That's life changing. So, well, thank you so much again. I appreciate you coming on here so much.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you for having me.
We'll say goodbye. And I was so excited when you signed up and you were the first one for episode 1 for the relaunch. I'm like, yay!
I was sitting in front of the television, and I'm not a regular TV watcher, but right now we're staying with my in-laws, and we were watching we were watching The Voice, and I was like, I was just sitting there watching, and I saw that you're come up. I was just kind of scrolling, and I'm like, oh my God, I got to get on that. I'm like, I got to get on that. And I'm like, I didn't realize I was the first person. I was like, wow.
Yeah, it's great because we're on every Monday at 11 a.m. in this time spot for about 45 minutes, and I'm booked all the way through August 10th right now.
That is
every Monday.
That is awesome. Yay!
So, yeah, I'm very excited. So thank you again, and thanks everyone for joining. Make sure you share the video, and we will see you next week, Monday at 11 a.m. Bye, everybody. Thank you.